Have you ever walked into a room pretending you knew exactly what you were doing, even though inside you were thinking, please don't ask me a follow-up question? And then somehow it worked. People listened, then opportunities showed up, your body kind of relaxed, your brain caught up. That experience is awesome. Today, we're going to talk about what that is. It's called fake confidence, why it feels sneaky, why it feels risky, and why science shows that it's one of the fastest ways your brain learns real confidence. It might actually change how you walk into meetings, conversations, uh, first dates. Let's just get into it. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Shelbi Fox with FuggaBRAT. Today, we're going to break down something most people secretly do but rarely admit out loud. Acting confident before they actually feel confident. Somewhere along the way, fake confidence kind of got a bad reputation. It got labeled as being maybe a little dishonest, possibly arrogant, or even insecure. But neuroscience, psychology, and all of these smart things around behavior science, they tell a much more interesting story. Once you kind of understand what's actually happening inside your brain, well, not just your brain, but in your brain and your body, fake confidence stops feeling fake at all. So, confidence, let me just start with what it actually is. Confidence is not a personality trait. It's something you either have or you don't have. It's not stored in one single place in your brain. Can you believe that? Confidence is more of a prediction. So here's what happens. Your brain constantly predicts how safe you are, how capable you are, and how likely you are to succeed in the next moments of your life. Yes. Those predictions come from experience, they come from repetition, and of course, my favorite is feedback, constructive or otherwise. This means that your confidence is more of a learned behavior. So, learned behaviors have to start somewhere because why? You got to learn them. So, here's where fake confidence comes in. When you behave confidently, your brain receives this new data. Your posture changes, your voice changes, your breathing rate actually changes. These are physical signals that travel back to the brain and update your internal prediction system. That system is called, you guessed it, your nervous system. Your nervous system notices nothing bad happened. I survived. I was accepted. I was understood, and so on. So that feedback loop matters, and it matters a lot. Your brain does not wait for feelings to change before updating beliefs. It updates beliefs based on actions. So, this is why body language plays such a huge role in confidence. Standing upright, making eye contact, speaking clearly, taking up space. Those behaviors send information inward. This information is what your brain reads and your body uses as this evidence or leverage. Kind of interesting, right? You're teaching your nervous system how to respond like a little, I don't know, test drive, a sample run, whatever you want to call it. Now, let's talk about perception. Your brain builds its sense of identity by observing your behavior, but it does this over time. So when you repeatedly show up as someone who speaks, initiates, leads, takes action, your brain updates the story it tells about who you actually are. This process happens just quietly. Uh, no one's really observing this process. It's your brain is doing it by itself. You're not consciously convincing yourself that you're confident. You're more accumulating proof that you're confident. Confidence kind of grows through this, well, what we call pattern recognition. Another reason fake confidence works is social feedback. Let me explain what social feedback is. Humans are highly responsive to perceived certainty. People tend to mirror the tone, the posture, the energy of people around them. So when you project calm, others often respond the same. So if you've ever heard that be the calm person in the fight, the whole reason for that is to calm the other person down because it's really difficult to be upset, loud, screaming, obnoxious to somebody that is very calm with their responses. So that response feeds back into your system. So you feel a little steadier, your breathing slows down, your thoughts start to organize in this manner. So it really starts to build the confidence internally. There's also what I like to call a timing advantage. So if you wait until you feel confident, that means you're going to be waiting forever. Does that make sense? Timing is everything. You've heard this a lot. You've heard this your whole life, actually. Confidence tends to arrive after movement starts, not before. Look at it like this. So you're getting ready to give a speech. You practice it, you go through it in your mind, you go through it out loud, you do it in the mirror. What happens is you're not confident at that time. You think you have this fake confidence going on inside you, but you're really not all that confident because confidence tends to come after you make the movement. So when you first start the speech, you've seen it a million times. I probably did this at the beginning of this podcast where I'm kind of not talking the same as what I'm talking to you right now. It's more dynamic. Why? It creates momentum. It gives me more confidence. The more I talk, the more confident I get, the more momentum I have. Fake confidence gives your brain this starting point for this momentum. And once this momentum exists, your motivation and belief, they have something to attach to, which is kind of cool. Let me clear up this one common misconception or misunderstanding. Fake confidence does not mean that you're lying about your abilities. It does mean that you're pretending to know everything. It does not mean that you're lying. It does not mean that you're overpowering others. What it means simply is that you're choosing a behavior that aligns with the version of you that is learning and growing and being. So it's basically the courage to behave a certain way. And when I say courage, confidence and courage should really go hand in hand simultaneously because it takes courage to be confident. Now, let's talk about the opposite side of this, and this is fear. Fear doesn't disappear before this confident action. In fact, it's there throughout. Fear is quietly repeated after the exposure, if you will. Each time that you act confidently while you are in fear, your nervous system kind of recalibrates. So your brain is learning. I can feel nervous and I can still function. I can feel uncertain and I can still be safe. That learning is powerful, extremely powerful. Fake confidence also reduces cognitive load. When you commit to an action style, your brain stops debating your every single move. There's less internal negotiation, so you're more mentally aware. In other words, by being more mentally aware, you have more clarity. So clarity feels like confidence. So here we have courage and confidence, clarity and confidence. Do you see where I'm going with this? Now, here's a fun little truth or fun little fact. Most confident people that you admire. Now think about these people. Some of these people that you think are so confident when they're giving their speeches, when they're on stage, when they're giving their TED Talks, you think they are so confident. Those people that you admire started exactly where you are. Yes, exactly. They practiced confidence before it ever felt natural. And sometimes it doesn't even feel natural to those people either. This borrowed certainty is temporary. That's the fun truth. It's confidence is not just original. Okay, I can't say that it's not original, but I can say that it's rarely original. What I can say confidently is that it is 100% rehearsed. You heard me. Confidence is rehearsed. How do you practice fake confidence in a healthy way? Here's some tips. First, let's just start with your posture. Your posture says a lot about you. You know your parents. Remember back in the day? Sit up straight, stand straight, shoulders back. We've all heard it. Posture tells everyone how confident you are. If your shoulders are slumped over, that doesn't look like you're very confident. But if your shoulders are back, what does that exude? Confidence. So posture is key. Here's another thing. Slow down your movements. I know I'm all over the place when I'm moving everywhere. I'm doing everything. My hands are going everywhere, but slow the movement down just ever so slightly. Here's the thing. When you're nervous, you talk really fast and you do things really fast, and that's how you are. I do the same thing as well. But when you're confident and you're not as nervous, you slow down, you take a breath, which brings me to my next point. Breathe. Breathe deeper. Take a longer pause after sentences. Take a little bit of a break when you're talking. Speak a little slower and pause the way I just did. So if you speak slower, it might not feel natural, but people are able to keep up with you while you're speaking. Your nervous system reads these little signals and it creates this stability within your speech, stability, which creates what? You guessed it, confidence. Another thing you could do, choose one place or environment where you practice, and the key word is consistently. You must practice this consistently. In other words, work meetings, consistently practice whenever you have a work meeting. How about a social gathering? You all get together to have a beer with your friends at a local bar for a happy hour. A social gathering is the perfect time to practice this fake confidence, especially when you're with your friends. Another great place. If you ever have to talk in public, this is where it really matters. And just practice it. You can practice it. Repetition actually matters a lot more than the actual intensity. Choose that environment wisely, but practice it consistently. Another thing is using your specific language that reflects more of an open nature discussion instead of something maybe defensive. In other words, you want to use clear statements, clear and concise language, simple explanations. You don't want to go off on a tangent on this or that or anything else in these deep dives of stuff. That's for later if people are doing questions. However, simple explanations and comfort with the pauses. What I mean by that is comfort in silence. You do not need to fill every bit of silence. Silence often reads as confidence. Now, most importantly, you really need to allow yourself to be just a beginner when you're doing this because nothing comes overnight. You're not going to all of a sudden have confidence overnight. You can have fake perceived confidence overnight. But this fake confidence works best when it's paired with a little bit of curiosity. Curiosity kind of keeps you a little bit flexible, and confidence keeps you grounded. So together, they create growth. Yes, curiosity plus confidence creates growth. And how true that is. When you're curious about something, do your little deep dive, give your little speech to your friends at your next social gathering, and see how it goes. You have confidence in what you're saying when you're well versed in what you're saying. If somebody is telling you that you need to give a TED talk on a subject that you know well, you can practice that a little bit, but you know it already. Say growing up, say a story about something that happened in your life. It's your life. It's easy. It's easy for you. However, what's not easy is if they tell you to do a speech on something that you have not rehearsed or something you don't know about. Know this: confidence is built through behaviors. Now, behaviors is what really teaches your brain, and your brain kind of adjusts the story. So it's not that you're pretending, you're really just in training. Fake confidence is about training your brain to actually become more confident in these social gatherings or just plain interactions, whether they're at work, at home, or just anywhere. I'm going to give this as a final takeaway. To portray confidence, you do not have to feel confident because your brain learns from what you are doing. Each confident action updates your nervous system and expands your sense of capability. Confidence is not something that you're just waiting around for. It's something that you really, truly have to practice. The more you practice, the better you get at it, and the more confident you become. So everybody, go out there, be courageous, get some clarity, and get some confidence. That's all for today. I'm Shelbi Fox. And remember, where you are is where it's at.